Very pleasant good morning, everybody. Welcome to a Thursday edition of the program. Jeff DeForest. We got Papa Lubitz, Mike Lubie Lubitz. So we were just talking before we signed on here, which is usually something I don't care for in a sports talk intro of any type, where they say, "Well, you know what? We were talking about this before we came on, and decided to exclude you from the conversation." No, just happened to mention because we really just punched on here, and I connected with Lubie about 30 seconds ago, or before the show. And I had always been implying that we couldn't wait for the day when we had a little Luby, so to speak.
Yes,
But I couldn't have anticipated, Luby, that this would be an exact, not even a reasonable facsimile, but an exact replica of the Mike Luby Lubitz that we've grown to love. And you were saying it, you were like 27 when we first started doing stuff together. So
Yes,
that's pretty amazing. Yeah. So 15, 16 years. You haven't hit 43 yet, have you?
I am 43. Yeah, I'm 43.
Okay. All right. Because my son just turned
I
43.
mean, I'm a few months older than your son. His birthday's he was
His
born
birthday's
early
February 3rd.
83. He's
Yeah.
born early 83, and I was born late 82.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Because, I mean, it sounds cliche to say this, but you are like a son to me in many, many ways after all of the things that we've been through. And you got thrown right into the ringer there because you had a very naive uh, approach, but a very naive vision of what the business was.
Oh yeah.
You thought that they would appreciate, and somehow we lost you there, Louis, and lost everything as we got hoops and trivia. There you go. All right. Did Luca hit a button? Is that what happened?
No, you went away and came back, and I guess I to you went away and came back. So
Okay. All right.
both here. Hello.
It's good. I don't see any interference from the weather that would have caused something like that. But good to see you. And I'm elated every morning when I see you with a feeding bottle in your hand there and some crying in the background because I really was. I was in such anticipation of this event where you would have the child, and then every time you hold this kid up, I'm like, it's Luby too, man. It's unbelievable.
But everyone says it's. I find it funny, and I say, "Watch out, world." I don't know if anyone wanted more of me, but here you go.
Well, you never know how it's going to turn out. I mean, I've been very
God
fortunate.
willing, he doesn't sound like this or act like this.
I mean, my son, for the most part, has been a pretty smooth ride with very few negative wavelengths over the years. A couple of things. Everybody goes astray here and there and tries something they probably shouldn't have, but doing great. Real family man. Couldn't be any more proud of this kid. Unbelievable. And kicking my ass on the tennis courts. Although, with Indian Wells going, very inspiring. I had a couple of picks yesterday. I actually gave out, believe it or not, Luby, on I do the Bet Your Bookie, Bury Your Bookie show by myself on Wednesdays. As I used to have a guy that we tied in, Troy West, out of Seattle, and it was prohibitive. I'm doing this thing at about 9:15, 6:15 out there. And considering that there wasn't a ton of cash involved in this project, it was a lot to ask of a guy to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. He had other things going on. He has an autistic child, and so he has to do all kinds. I mean, it's not easy to manage any kind of problem, and naturally, you're going to do everything that you have to. You will break your back. You will do anything that you have to take care of your kids. But he was telling me he has to drive an hour and a half to take his daughter to a special school each way. Each way. So,
I mean, good for him. That's amazing. And again, yes, having
I mean,
a
it's
son.
like driving to Orlando to take your kid to school.
No, it's a drive. That's a lot, and good for him. And it's impressive he went as long as he did with you. He was with you for a while.
Yeah, we still shoot it back and forth. I mean, he's doing very well for himself. He has one of these services. I guess they do a lot of research and end up. Can you continue to sell selections if you're not winning? I mean, eventually, wouldn't people just say, "Hey, you know what? F you."
I can lose myself.
Yeah, I could come up with losers all day long. I do it all the time. But yesterday, I ventured into treacherous. I mean, just absolutely the most dangerous turf that you possibly could, and that was trying to pick three NBA games, Louis, three NBA games on the slate. And I had a couple of tennis picks, one of which didn't quite work out because this guy Manorino, I believe his first name is it Adrian Manorino. He's a French player, even though he has an Italian name. And he is the strangest player because he doesn't have a single weapon that would be of any particular danger. I mean, when you see Alcaraz, he has this phenomenal athleticism, hits the ball a ton, big server, 125, 130 miles an hour. I mean, which is not necessarily uncommon anymore in men's tennis, but when you watch the way this guy attacks the court and plays every shot and goes for it, you're saying, "Wow, this guy's got a zillion different things he can do." The drop shot he's brought back into the game. Yannick Sinner, I mean, an incredible stroker in terms of ground strokes of the tennis ball, and you see others, Zverev, who can't seem to crack through and win big tournaments, but nonetheless has been ranked in the top five for much of the last several years. Although he was out for a while with an injury, worked his way right back up to the top. If you're betting on Zverev to win tournaments, unfortunately, you're probably pulling lint out of your pocket right now. But I would think, is it an eventuality that he has to crack through? This Manarino, the first time I saw him, I was unaware of him, and this was when Del Rey. They sort of varied back then, the Del Rey tournament, where they weren't getting the top guys, but they're getting more of them now. This past year, they had a great field with a lot of the top Americans in there. Tommy Paul was in there. I guess he's like number 20 something in the world. Taylor Fritz, number 7 in the world, was part of the field, and many, many others that are of distinction. But at that time, they were sort of getting like a second tier, I guess you would call it, of players. And it was one of those tournaments, much like the Honda Classic was back in the day, where it was a nice showcase for possibly some emerging talent. So I happened to see a match with Manarino in there, and I'm like, what does this guy do that has him as a winning player? He's finished 13 straight years in the top 75, which you're saying top 75. Who gives a flying one about that? But it's still, I mean, it's pretty good when you think about being in the top 75 of all men's tennis players the world over. As my friend Jimmy Lennon Sr. used to say, really needing no introduction the world over. And then there was some 112-pound Mexican that had just come up from Tijuana. And you're like, oh, yeah. He walks into a deli in New York. Oh, there's a pastrami sandwich. They know right away. Yeah, then that's Leo Rodriguez, man. Kid out of Tijuana. So Manarino is in there against Matteo Berrettini, the handsome, dashing Italian. Berrettini has battled injuries the last several years. He had worked his way at one point up to number 5 in the world, and I'm not sure if they continued this series. I was fascinated by it. Much like when John Feinstein had the book Hard Court Sound, it was one of the few books I read cover to cover because it was a real great look, as Feinstein was unique for in terms of diving deep behind the scenes there and bringing you what the tennis tour was all about and what it was like to be a top tennis player. And the series on Netflix was called Break Points. It was either Break Point or I want to say Break Points. It was a multiple. And they did a great job on that. I'm not sure if they continued it. I know they had 2 seasons of it. I'm not sure if there's, but for some reason, Lubie, even though I subscribe to Netflix, the only time I actually click on it anymore is when there's a Jake Paul fight, which
Jesus.
how weird is that? Is that like a waste of a subscription? There's plenty good stuff on there. No, Netflix. Do you watch a lot of Netflix?
I do. No, I watch Netflix. Yeah, and I watch it somewhat regularly. I don't know about. It's funny when the Jake Paul fight. I don't watch it.
Yeah. Oh, that's see, we're just diametrically opposed on that.
Exactly.
I have a friend that a guy named Steve lives in the complex next door. Although he may have moved out, he bought another place somewhere. But every year he has a brand new car. It looks like it's about 120,000 a pop. And he was telling me about all these homes he has. I said, if you don't mind me asking, because do you ask a guy how he came about all of his money? He used to be like you assumed he was a drug dealer if you were here in the early 80s and you saw a guy that was filthy rich. And he told me he bought a ton of Netflix when it was like, I guess, $10 a share or something. Can you imagine? How come we never have this kind of insight, Lubie?
Never.
I end up with like Greenlight Ventures stock. I had 1 million shares of that at one point in time. I think now it's traded 1 for 20 a split, and so it's 5,000 shares. It probably is worth pennies on the dollar. That's my investment. I remember I was talking with somebody about it. I think it was my son last Sunday. So we were talking about finances, and I said, hey, everything I've done, I buy in at the exact wrong time. Buy 3 houses in 2008. Next thing you know, they're worthless. I had invested with the lovely Meg Green, who was a financial advisor on the radio. I remember giving her like $100,000 when I had it on hand. years ago, and everybody was making a killing in the stock market. They're just, I mean, they were printing and minting money. And first month, the 100,000 went up 8%. I had 108 grand. I thought that this is the most wonderful thing that ever happened to me. And the next month, I had 92,000, and I got out. And that's a good thing too. I mean, I guess time does time heal all wounds in this kind of. I mean, you're vested now with Shirley raking in this kind of cash. No, I mean, didn't you say you had a few investments?
We do have a property in St. Louis.
Oh yeah,
Um,
nice. What, are you renting it to one of the Spinks family members?
no, it's a certain kind of housing that actually works along with the government. It actually helps low income families. But it's worked out really well for us. We
Yeah,
want
good.
more. And I have some investments, but no, I'm more like you. I'm not great with investing. She's good with it, but I'm horrendous with it. Whenever I want to jump into something, it's already popular, so it's like not worth it. It's already
Yes,
jamming, so it's like, oh Jesus, yeah, I'm always late to the party.
very very late to the party. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, it was it was interesting because I never have any kind of luck with that sort of thing, and it's an absolute disaster. So instead, we choose to invest in what? Are you investing in? Would you ever consider it an investment in betting sports? The professor would.
They do, yeah. The way Ken does it, he treats it like it's an investment. Yeah, when you do it long term and grind, as they say, yes, it can be seen that way for sure.
All right. Yeah, because and the professor he handles it like you said, like it was somewhat of a business arrangement. He's not overly emotional. I think he has confidence that eventually he's going to come out on top in this stuff, and his money management is solid. He's not just throwing it to the wind there. So yeah, I mean he's fairly good with this sort of thing, which I am not either. But yeah, yesterday, I mean, you couldn't have any more treacherous of an investment than NBA sides. I don't know about over unders. Is anybody having a lot of success with over unders? Lubie, that you know of? Sorry, I mean,
I feel like Andy does. I feel like Andy Man plays them quite regularly. I don't know a lot of people that do it. Again, most people don't like you. We've talked about they don't even play sides anymore. Like
yeah,
they pick different players and bet on their fakakta point or rebound or steal totals. I mean, like that's most people I know that are betting are like these new people that real degenerates make fun of and say are ruining the game. Like that's how most people are betting these days.
it's an easy way to go broke. I remember when this first sort of became in vogue. It was kind of a joke where on Super Bowl Sunday they would have all of these wild props. Not just about the Super Bowl, but that was when you got a deal like who would have more points, the Indianapolis Colts or Michael Jordan. And people were making those kind of bets, and it was just kind of a fun thing. Now people are taking it very, very seriously. But I bring up the professor for a reason because the professor has a tendency to want to spit on a man's grave. No, I saw some of this stuff that the professor was sending out with you yesterday.
Not exactly. He's just not one to change his opinion about someone because they've passed. Like he doesn't bring people up and hammer them. He just doesn't change his opinion because someone has died. Like if he has an opinion about someone when they're alive, he maintains that opinion into their passing.
There are certain people, yes, that your happiest moment would be. So I don't like to disparage the dead, Luby. Look, even with all of this horror that's going on in terms of the way the country is being run, if the Ayatollah Khomeini is taken out, do you really feel any deep sense of regret about that? I mean, the guy was responsible for slaughtering thousands of people and sponsoring terror around the world. I mean, sometimes when Bin Laden was killed, didn't you think if anybody had it coming, it was this guy? Right. But in the case of Lou Holtz, I was very surprised to see the professor. Not surprised because there are many people that thought that Lou Holtz was an asshole.
I've
I
heard different things. Again, our friends the Ruddies love him, and Notre Dame people love him, but I've heard mixed reviews on Lou Holtz as a human. I've never come across him. Like Mayo man was defending him because he's dealt with him. I'm sure you over time at some point.
I've met him. I can't say I had any kind of
I
rape.
never dealt with him, and Ken as well has never dealt with him. We know the persona we see and
Yeah.
stories we've heard, so that's why our perception may be different. I don't know. He's one I don't know at all. But I've heard weird things about him as a person slash coach.
Even though I despised Notre Dame all of those years, and yes, there were all kinds of allegations and assertions that Lou Holtz was a filthy, dirty cheater and was among the Belichickian types that was skirting. And you could ask yourself who that's had a lot of success was absolutely squeaky clean. Even the Wizard, John Wooden, was far from squeaky clean. As much as Bill Walton would probably be rolling over in his grave that we even mentioned this. But I just remember my friend from college, Alan Greenberg, who was an outstanding sports writer. One of his first jobs, that might have even been, I don't know, did he go straight from Syracuse to the Los Angeles Times? Is that a possible thing to do? Ended up having his best success and was best known as a columnist for the Hartford Courant, which I want to speculate the Hartford Courant doesn't exist anymore. But he was a syndicated columnist out of the Hartford Courant, and that's kind of how he came into prominence, at least in terms of being known. And this was before you saw so many sports writers make the transition into electronic media. And that's, I mean, look, guys like Kornheiser were great sports writers long before you ever saw them on TV and doing radio and things like that. Greenberg, though, wrote a long series of articles about Sam Gilbert, who was a booster for the UCLA Bruins. And he detailed some of the things that were taking place that seemed to be very suspicious. And of course, he was casting aspersions towards the legitimacy of John Wooden's long reign. And I'm pretty sure that he was crucified for that, bringing this stuff up in LA. I do remember reading those articles and kind of being taken back myself, thinking, really? The Wooden is a cheating bastard? So if John Wooden could be caught in that kind of parameter and being seen as a guy that was a little bit, what would you say, unscrupulous when it came to following the rules of the NCAA, which were far more strict back then because, look, now they're just openly paying players. Do we hold it against Holtz that he was often associated with things? Look, Kelvin Sampson's greatly respected. Bruce Pearl, a lot of people like Bruce Pearl. You think Calipari's been completely clean his entire career? Rick Pitino. I mean, look.
No, well, Calipari's actually gotten popped
Yeah.
in multiple occasions at both UMass and Memphis.
Exactly.
Kentucky, I think there were things lingering. That's what had a lot to do with him running out of town for Arkansas.
I gotta go, Pete Carroll. I mean, look, just before everything blew up for him at USC, he managed to say, "You know what? I'm a little tired of the college scene. I think I'm going to take a crack at the pros."
I
Very
don't hold
convenient.
recruiting violations. And again, Gurggles, by the way, is standing in the
Oh,
wings.
good. Okay, let's get him in here.
So I'll bring him in. But I don't hold recruiting violation. Like, that's not humanity. That's stupid rules they had that I never understood. I just
If
have heard
everybody
different
was
rules
breaking,
about rules.
right? If everybody's breaking the rules, does that make it okay to break the rules? It's the same thing like Barry Bonds with the steroids, I guess. Gergs, how are you? You look great, Gergs. What are you doing?
Feeling good. We're very busy out here. I'll be getting out there shortly. We just had the guys here from Youngstown, Ohio for their 49th year, and the guys from Butler for their 56th. So
Was Boom Boom Mancini there? Did Boom Boom
no.
Mancini show up at the Youngstown?
No, but the Youngstown guys knew a lot of shady people, let's say. But I remember Lou Holtz, one of his famous quotes was when he left Arkansas that they said they might have a stamp named after him, but he said the way I coached at Arkansas, they'd probably spit on the other side to put it on. And I quit betting the NBA when I took under 27 free throws for Wilt Chamberlain to make when he scored 100 points and he won 28 for 32. So
That's way
no
back.
more NBA for me.
I don't know if they had any props then. What I was going to say, just to finish up, because we want to get to your trivia and get you back out there in the course, but Lou Holtz, my first impressions of him came from his appearances on the Johnny Carson show. And this was at a time where, I mean, he was right up there with Euchre and Bum Phillips in terms of being one of the sports figures that held a position of prominence that you found kind of entertaining and engaging because he had a nice approach. It was self-deprecating and his humor. One of the quotes that was mentioned by Mike Vaccaro in his tribute to Lou Holtz today in the New York Post was, and I thought you were going to go with this one because it also related to his time at Arkansas. And he said about Fayetteville, he said, I don't know if it's the end of the world, but you can see it from there.
Yes, I remember that quote.
So yeah, I always thought that was kind of cool. I mean, he became a Jets coach, was a complete failure there. Didn't even last a full season. Had a lot of success. He turned around some programs. Third all time on the list of wins at Notre Dame behind uh, Brian Kelly and Newt. So some pretty lofty company there, and successful as a coach, you would have to say overall. Coached at several other stops on the tour. Maybe I don't know if people had incidents with Lou Holtz where they thought, "Wow, what an asshole," but I always had a fairly favorable impression of him just because he was willing to poke fun at himself. So may he rest in peace. And the professor did one of these. My favorite movie title I ever saw was on the marquee of the Peerless Theater, which was showing a horror triple header. This was in Brooklyn, New York. And I'll never forget. In the movie, still, you can Google it. I guess it had some modest success. I Spit on Your Grave was the name of the movie. For some reason, I can still see it up there on the sign because we used to go bowling at the Strand Lanes, which Polyman made a great point about bowling the other day to me in a text. I don't know if he sent that to you, Gurggles. That why is it that all guys named Ralph are good bowlers, including well, I guess outside of Camden, but
Right.
but usually, a guy named Ralph. If you find a guy that's leading the league in average, it's a guy named Ralph something. All right, we're going to get into a trivia challenge here with Dave Gergely. You can dial us up if you want to play, and then we'll come back. I have a ton of notes here about the sporting world. If you can see that, I can't read it once I write the stuff down, Libby. As you know, I'm like, what is that name there? Jones. Yeah, Jones. So you can dial us up if you want to play. 954-417-0070. 954-417-0070. It's a distinction only thing where you win a championship, and you have that. You can put it right there on your epitaph, on your gravestone, that you won the trivia challenge one week. So jump in and get involved. 954-417-0070. Anything you want to relate to or relate to the people out there, Gurgles, about what's going on? I know the golf has been sensational weather for golf.
We're slamming. I'll be Monday at Grand Oaks for autism for Peyton's pals, doing a little Beat the Broadcaster. And today is the anniversary of one of the most shocking trades in the sports world ever.
Okay, can you narrow it down? Maybe give us a point.
1973, Peterson and Kekich.
Oh, that was great.
Their families and the dog.
Rich Peterson and Mike Kekich. Which one of the two was the one that actually stayed with the woman that they swapped? And the other two, remember when they had, I think our friend Eric Brandon was on this show where they used to have some guy move into another guy's house.
Yes.
Be with the wife. What was that show called? I forgot.
Oh, Wife Swap or
Wife Swap. Yeah. He was on that.
Yeah, I remember.
These guys actually did it.
That's right.
And it was great. All right, the music's playing, so I guess we're going to take a break and come back with the game. 954-417-0070. Is that in light of the fact that we don't
have to. You teased it as though we don't actually have to. Well, we have players ready to play if we want to play. I know Gergs is a busy man, so
let's hold off on a break and we'll get Gergs working here. So,
good.
All right, you guys know the deal. Here's Gergs, our first set of questions. And
baseball.
Not any traditional fashion. Yeah,
the traditional way. Easy baseball. This Kansas City Royals Hall of Famer on the competitive nature of baseball once said, if a tie is like kissing your sister, then losing must be like kissing your grandmother with her teeth out. Was that George Brett, Ken Brett, Brett Boone, or Boone T. Pickens?
Roll it, Lubie. The random phone scrambler. Select our first player. Look at that. Ron, you're on the trivia challenge. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, fellas. Let's go with A.
Attaboy, Ron.
To the show. We're off to rocking start here.
All right. NFL Combine, true or false? Fernando Mendoza said in one of his team interviews at the Combine, one of the strangest questions asked to him by a representative from the team is, would he consider getting arrested so that he might drop down in the draft? True or false?
That's probably crazy enough to be true.
That is true.
That is true. Nice.
Yep. I don't know who it was that asked him.
Way to sniff that out there, Ron. 2 for 2, going for 5.
All right, let's go back to baseball. Who's the youngest player in baseball history to have a 30-30 season? Julio Rodriguez, Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, or Richie Allen?
Why not go with Richie Allen?
No, I
I'm
just
going
threw
Mike
him in.
Trout.
Mike Trout at the age 20. Very good.
Very good. All right. Do we give 2.5 to Ron for me getting that right?
Well, yep. That'll go towards the prize.
Right.
It doesn't work that way, people.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
we'll put it towards the prize.
I
All right.
should have pulled a Josh Friedman and given the answer before Ron had a chance to answer. 2 going for 7, Ron, to set the
All
pace.
right, golf. This week is the Arnold Palmer Bay Hill Classic. Who's the defending champion?
Oh, good question.
Scotty Scheffler, Russell Henley, Bryson DeChambeau, or Tyrell Hatton?
Sorry, can you repeat those?
Sure. Scotty Scheffler, Russell Henley, Bryson DeChambeau, or Tyrell Hatton?
Let's go Scotty Scheffler.
No,
I'm
he
gonna
won
go-
the
I'm
year
gonna go
before
Hatton.
last.
Hatton.
It was Russell Henley.
Oh, Henley. Okay. I knew it was one of those two. If I went 50-50, I would have had it. All right. Okay. Off to a slow start here. Ron gets 2, so he's not dead yet, but like Lou Holtz is. The professor just spitting on this guy's grave. It was amazing. Jump on board if you want to play. Wide open to get to the finals. 954-417-0070. 954-417-0070. So I would imagine, though, Holtz was around the Shula's Hotel and the whole Shula complex there at different times, no?
I don't remember seeing him. Bobby Bowden I saw. A lot of the guys around Super Bowl time. Notre Dame, I don't know where they stayed, maybe Fort Lauderdale, but Bowden I saw quite a bit, and he was truly the nicest guy that I ever met. Yeah.
Oh, Bowden was great. No doubt
Yeah,
about it.
he was terrific. Yeah.
What a nice tandem that was promoting football in a state when you had Bobby Bowden and of course, Howard Schnellerer.
Yeah, Howard.
And they were great advocates for each other and for the rivalry. And then you had those snot-nosed Gators who wouldn't kind of join the party there and always seemed so sanctimonious that there's like, well, we can't mess with those guys. Yeah, Florida State, Miami, they're beneath us. By the way, UM basketball winner last night, and they matched their all-time total for season wins.
Yeah, they beat SMU, I think.
Beat SMU 77-69. 24-6 on the year, 13-4 in the ACC. They get the double bye now in the ACC tournament. And real nice job. This Jai Lucas, son of John Lucas, turns out to have done a bang-up job. Jim Larinaga, people think that he got fired there, but he's still involved with the program as some kind of advisor, which I think it would be a wise maneuver on the part of anybody to try and get the input from his expertise. But really have to applaud this job. That's a nice job. I think they had.
And how about Nova Southeastern winning 100 straight at home?
Wow. I've been betting against them every game, thinking been taking the money line on the opposition. So, have you ever suffered 100 straight losses? I blanked the other day at the track. I think I was out there Friday and didn't cash a ticket the entire time. Just amazing. No, I wasn't, betting a ton of races, but it's kind of ugly when you realize
those days. Absolutely.
Yeah, didn't even cash. That's when you bet 2 to show on the 2 to 5 shot.
Yeah.
Just to cash a ticket. All right, here we go. Next set of questions. Dave Gurggles, Gergely.
All right, sports in general. This comedian on a sport he would never try said, "Remember, if at first you don't succeed, so much for skydiving." Was it Henny Youngman, Robert Young, Loretta Young, or Mighty Joe Young?
That's like our proposition about who was the first guy to attempt ski jumping. How did he end up? All right. Yeah, great. This is always a pleasure here. And one of our dear friends of the program and all 3 of us as well. Andy, man, you're on the Trivia Challenge. Good morning, Andy.
Hello. It's Take My Wife, Please.
That was Henny.
The greatest line ever, right? Henny Youngman. All right. One going for 2.
I had a pleasure trip the other day. I took my mother-in-law to the airport. That was Henny, yeah.
Yes.
All right, Andy. NBA. Auntie Anne's, actually, the world's largest hand-rolled soft pretzel franchise, recently announced retired NBA star Mark Blunt as its newest franchise partner. True or false?
I got to figure that you would never come up with Mark Blunt's name unless it happened, so I'll go with true.
True.
Yes, it is true.
Very good. Nice to touch. Andy. Those are so tempting in the airport, aren't they? Do you ever
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've indulged in it. Even when you're landing and you see one of those places, you're thinking, "Hey, best thing I could do right now is shovel a pretzel in my face."
You
Like,
know, I was a teenager when the Kekich Peterson thing happened, and the part I couldn't understand is that Peterson was such a better pitcher than Kekich. I couldn't figure out how his wife could leave him for Kekich.
a bizarre story, but you said that it was Fritz and Kekich's wife that stayed together,
Yeah, they stayed together.
and the other two ended up hating each other, like most people do. All right, you were 2 for 2, going for 5.
Right. Go back to golf. Of course, this is the Arnold Palmer Bay Hill Classic. 1955, Arnold's rookie year on the tour. What was the first pro event that he won in his career?
Good question.
Was it the Greenbrier, the Eastern Open, the Twin Cities Classic, or the Canadian Open?
The Greenbrier.
No, good guess. That was
I'm gonna go
Sam's
Eastern
signature
Classic.
one. And believe it or not, it was the Canadian Open. Just
Canadian
got out
Open.
of the Navy and won the Canadian Open.
You know, throughout the first golf ball, ceremonial golf ball, the Eastern Classic, the Eastern Assassin, Larry Holmes.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. No, I don't know that that's true, but
No, that was Eastern Airlines, not Easton. Okay.
oh, Eastern. Okay.
All right, Andy, NBA, your 5-point question. In the 1956 draft, the Boston Celtics made a trade with St. Louis Hawks to acquire Bill Russell, forever changing their future. Who did the Celtics take with their own number 1 pick, 6th overall, in that draft? Was it Casey Jones, Sam Jones, Bailey Howell, or Tommy Heinsohn?
Oh, and Heinsohn.
I'm going to
That's
say
right.
Heinsohn. Yeah.
By the Holy Cross. Very well done.
Yeah.
Hang
Did you get
on,
that? I mean, Tommy Heinsohn with the hook shot out of the corner like Connie Deerking.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, I guess, Jerry Lucas. Did he have the hook shot out of the corner also? He took a
A
lot
little
of.
bit, yeah. But Heinsohn did a great job broadcasting afterwards. He had that
Oh,
gravelly voice, but he was
yeah.
quite really good.
He was fantastic. All right. Good job, Andy. Gets 7 points, tops the leaderboard right now. We'll play one more at 954-417-0070, 954-417-0070. Gurggles, Perdomo Cigars.
Yes, sir. I
Now's
had
the
a nice
season.
lot 23 when I was at Key Biscayne last Friday doing the tournament for Central Matter Academy. And everybody said, Perdomo Cigars, did you bring one? No, but you can get one. 5150 Northwest 167th Street, right off the Palmetto on the south side, a little east of Home Depot. 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Truly a family tradition. You go in, the concierge, Bruce, an ex-police officer, knows all about the Perdomo cigars. Nick Jr. are in there selling cigars as well, and you can get them perfect. It's Cuban seed tobacco, grown in Nicaragua, brought in fresh all the time, whether you one cigar, whether it's a variety pack, or whether it's a whole box of cigars. Perdomo Cigars, truly the place to go. Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., 305-627-6700, the number to call for this great cigar. And you can't get there Monday through Friday, no problem. Go online at www.perdomocigars.com to find the cigar retailer near you that sells these great cigars. I think my Perdomo horse last week was in the Florida Derby and got beat half a length, Chief Wallaby. I really liked him in that Florida Derby, but whatever. And then I didn't go Sunday, and there's this guy who's hot as heck there, Jorge Ruiz, riding for Graham Motion, and he wins on a horse named Kravitz. Do you remember what television character was named Kravitz?
Duddy Kravitz. No, that was.
It was in Bewitched, the next door neighbor, Gladys and Abner Kravitz.
The only Kravitz I really knew was a guy named Bruce Kravitz, who was a trainer at Santa Anita.
Right, I remember him.
He became known for his work at Penn National. He became one of the leading trainers at Penn National.
Yep.
My friend, the Mighty Melendez, who I've been in touch with a lot lately, introduced me to Kravitz, who was a friend of his. And Kravitz managed to go 0 for 103 at Santa Anita before he won the last race on the card of the last day of the meeting.
Wow.
Breaking an 0 for 103 streak. And then he moved. I mean, can you go to a more, bizarre outpost of thoroughbred racing than Penn National?
Yeah.
Granville, PA, in the middle of the night, snowing even in the summertime. And he became a pretty successful trainer there. So,
and that's where Chris McCarron used to go every Sunday to break the record for winning mounts in a year. Penn National.
Penn National. They one of the originals too with the handicapping contest.
Yes, they were. Yep.
So yeah, my accountant, the great John Casbar, actually won one of the original ones. And then you don't know what happens when you do that sort of thing. You never win another one after. But
Grantville, Pennsylvania. I remember doing a doubleheader, Delaware Park in the afternoon and Penn National at night. Well, quite a different track from Delaware to near Harrisburg, but we made
emblematic of the fact that you were a sick degenerate.
Yes.
Gurggles.
No doubt about it.
What was the one in the afternoon? Which was the track?
Delaware Park.
Oh,
so I had to go to Stanton, Delaware, an hour and a half south of Philly, and then drive north and west to Harrisburg on all these back roads.
Delaware Park was like Saratoga compared to.
No doubt about it.
All right, last set of questions before we go to the championship. Here we go.
Okay, skiing. This member of nobility on the sport of skiing said, there are really only 3 things to learn in skiing: how to put on your skis, how to slide downhill, and how to walk alongside the hospital corridor. What's that? Lord Mancroft, Anne Bancroft, Barry Croft, or Seals and Croft?
Scrambler lands on Mike. Mike, you're on the trivia challenge. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, eh?
Correct again. Wow.
Well done.
Sharp
All right,
player.
Mike, NFL Combine. The Wonderlic test given by the NFL to demonstrate mental acumen usually average about 24 for the average score. Believe it or not, Dan Marino, Jim Kelly, and Terry Bradshaw all scored a low of 15. True or false?
True.
Yeah,
True.
that's true.
True.
That's
Wow.
true.
Reno was
Danny Boy and Bradshaw are in the same mental category in that thing.
Yes.
Hard to
yes.
picture, right? Because the greatest line ever about Bradshaw was you couldn't spell cat if you spotted in the C and the A.
Yeah.
Or the C and
Thomas
the T.
Hollywood Henderson gave him that.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And
I might have
Thomas
What's that?
Hollywood Henderson hit the Texas lottery twice.
Yes.
The first time he hit it for $6 million, he sat down and wrote 100 checks for $1,000 each to friends and family and said, "Never call me again."
Yep, that's the move.
Then he hit it again. It's
Yeah.
pretty incredible. Don't tell me he died broke. Is he still around, Hollywood Henderson?
Yeah, he's still around. I
Oh.
played in a golf tournament with him. He credited Dorothy Shula for saving him from a drug-related problem that he had.
He did have a little bit of a coke habit there. All right, 2 going for 5, right? Or did
Yep.
he get that? Yeah. he
Yeah.
got
True, false. Yeah.
All right, Mike, hockey. In one of the most famous Stanley Cup goals ever, Bobby Orr made the flying through the air goal versus the St. Louis Blues. What Bruin made the pass to Orr to set him up?
Wow, Gurggles.
Ken Hodge, Derek Sanderson, Johnny Busick, or Phil Esposito? Or Buchek, as Paulie would say.
I'm thinking it had to be C, no?
Music.
No,
He's-
it
he's a
was the first millionaire in the WHA, Derek Sanderson.
It was Buchek, I think is the way you say it. No, going for 7 points there. Tie you for the lead, put you in the finals, Mike. Here we go.
Here we go. When current Steelers coach Mike McCarthy in the 1990s, while a wide receiver coach with the University of Pittsburgh, which of the following jobs did he hold in the offseason? A, he was part of the crew responsible for cutting the lawn at Pitt Stadium. B, he drove an ice cream truck. C, he was a lifeguard at the local YMCA. Or D, a toll collector on the Pennsylvania Turnpike.
B.
B.
No, believe it or not, he was a toll collector on the Pennsylvania Turnpike.
Yeah, I figured that was a tough one to come up with there. All right, we're going to have a spin-off here to see who opposes Andy, because we did have both Ron and Mike with 2 points apiece. So if you can give Luca the gadget there you go. We're going to end up right there.
Mike, shocker, Mike, who's already on the line. Wow,
Wow.
that's convenient.
Went right past Ron. I thought it would stop on Ron and went right past him to Mike. Okay.
Amazing. Now that it was like that thing on Wheel of Fortune where it just goes right into bankrupt.
I love that. I love
All right,
that.
what do you think? Do we take a little time out while you set this up, Lubie?
Sure.
We'll get spots in there, and then we'll come
Whatever
back
you want to do.
around, and then we'll roll right until 9 o'clock as we dispatch Gurggles out to the golf course. So back in a moment with the championship round of the Trivia Challenge. Now that
The time.
we're producing on the fly here, it's 8:42.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Joe Bees. The bees collect the pollen, bring it to Joe, he packages it, and he gets it to you. It's simple, 100% natural, and it's good for you.
There's only one place to get Joe Bees, and that's from me. Joe B.
If you want to look and feel good, call 877-300-5632.
Oh, Solo Volante will be coming late. Oh, Solo Volante, the Belmont's now 1 mile and an 8. The finish line is coming up quick. Luca Panici, just switch the stick.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back. Going to contest the championship round here. Andy and Mike going to go at it. Andy has a doubleheader. This I don't know that I saw this one much. Saratoga in the day and drive to Green Mountain in Vermont for the Jughead.
Oh, I've done that. Yeah,
You've done that.
I've done that. When I went, it was actually thoroughbred, and it was the same owner at Calder at the time. But yeah, we drove. I went with a gentleman. We were Saratoga during the day in Green Mountain. I did that one. Then I went to dog racing, and I didn't go.
There's a commonality here in terms of the level of degeneracy exhibited by almost shameful admissions here on the program. All right, we have Andy and Mike, guys. Gerg's going to toss out the question. Call out your name if you want to answer right away. Nobody does that. We'll offer multiple choice. First person to call out his name gets first chance. We go back and forth until we have a winner for the championship. This week's edition of the Trivia Challenge. Here we go. Here's Dave.
Good luck, guys. Football. With the passing of Lou Holtz, we remember fondly, or maybe not so fondly, his year in 1976 as the head coach of the Jets when he went 3-11 and then quit during the season. He beat the Buffalo Bills twice that season. The other team he beat was the Dolphins. Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody have a guess?
Somebody
All right. The Dolphins, the Bucks, the Bengals, or the Patriots?
Mike.
Yes.
No, Mike.
What was that?
Bucks.
Of course, that year the Bucks didn't win a game.
16.
1976. And the infamous Larry Ball, who played on the perfect season,
Mike.
the team that didn't win a game. Congratulations, Mike. You win the
All right,
same
Mike.
prize that Andy won last week.
I mean, the commendations from this show are definitely worthwhile. All right, you're off to the course, Gurggles, straight out there.
Yes, sir. I got to go right back out there. I've been out there once going around. I've got my tee sheet. Go around, say hello to everybody. Make sure they move it along. Fill in some divots, break some traps, and you gentlemen have a wonderful day.
That was a collared shirt required, or collared shirt out there? You're going to have to change to get out on the course?
Actually, I've seen some that we sell like T-shirts with the Miami Lakes logo, and I've seen some people playing in that. But we keep them in check. We just keep them moving. But you remember, the thing on the golf course is your place is not in front of the group behind you. It's behind the group in front of you.
There you go. Nice
thing to remember.
A while to figure that out. All right, very good. Gurggles, you look great, and thanks so much for being with us. Dave, Gurggles, Gergely, ladies and gentlemen. All right, that was a spirited edition of the game there. Very good. Congratulations to all the people who played, and I hope you guys that didn't play in the future we'll jump on the phone lines there. Don't be as scared, as we used to say in Brooklyn, and take a shot at least establishing your credentials as a trivia expert. All right, Lubie, a bunch of other stuff going on that we didn't get a chance to touch on before we got into the trivia challenge. NFL news, Lubie, you want to go there? Where you want to go?
Okay.
NCAA basketball?
Either one. Again, I was talking to Ken last night about college hoops, as you and I have been trying to find the sleeper, quote unquote.
Did you find some?
He's very much about what we've talked about, and he'll come on tomorrow and give more of his take. But again, he actually rules out Arizona for the most part because he says they're led by freshmen, and you can win with freshmen, but it's hard for him. Again, when you look at Florida, when you look at Duke and Michigan, they have a lot more veteran leadership, so he sort of doesn't trust them. But again, like we talk about, it's all about the matchups. He says Houston's another team, like we've talked about, that has a shot, but their offense, again, they're led by one guy offensively, which is sort of their thing. And if he's off, then they struggle offensively. So he's really giving it to those three teams, with Arizona and Houston maybe having sort of a chance. And he doesn't really see anyone else having a legit chance, which is sort of what we talked about.
That's what it seems like. I did a little research, Libby, because St. Louis was in action, the Billikens, last night. And they completed a 19-0 home season, a home campaign, 19-0. And I believe the streak extends into the previous year, but I don't know that it's much more. It was either 27 or in the low 20s. The number of games they won in a row at home. Now, they're not going to be at home in the tournament, so that sort of negates the idea that they're going to have some huge advantage there. 27-3 on a season. They're only ranked 25th in the country, Libby. That's a stretch of the imagination to think the 25th ranked team in the country is going to do it, because I have given no consideration whatsoever.
Nah.
I love Rick Pitino's coaching style and the way that he's done things at St. John's, which had been floundering for so many years and never quite met up to expectations under a variety of coaches that followed the late, great Lou Carnesecca. But Pitino's done a nice job there, no question. And they love him in New York City. Mike Rapoli, his big backer and booster, of course, the guy that's big in horse racing, but had made a fortune, believe it or not, with vitamin water. Were you a fan of vitamin water?
I like vitamin water.
I like it. Okay.
I like Gatorade's the best, as much as it pains me to say that as a no. Literally, they don't even allow Gatorade on the campus. Gatorade's the best flavor. Vitamin water is under that. It's just Powerade's horrendous. Powerade was always rough. It always tastes like cough
Too
syrup.
much sugar. Yeah.
It just tastes like cough syrup. It always had a weird aftertaste. And I don't know some of the other ones. Now there's a ton of them. I don't know. But I always liked vitamin water. I thought it was solid. It was weird. The 50-cent connection sort of weirded me out. But I liked it. I thought it was solid. Gatorade's always the best to me, but vitamin water's okay. I don't know. I haven't seen it in forever. I guess it still exists. I don't know. I haven't seen vitamin water in a long time.
I guess Rapoli cashed out. They were bought by like Pepsi or something.
Yes, they got bought by a big conglomerate. And
yeah.
I thought they were still around. I don't know. I haven't seen them in a long time.
I haven't seen vitamin water in forever. The first time I experienced vitamin water was I was at the Pompano Beach Tennis Center, and they actually, you talk about grassroots marketing. They had people passing out vitamin water in the parking lot. So as you walked in, they said, "Hey, have you tried vitamin water?" And they're like, "No, I never heard of it." And they gave you a bottle for free, which you were always happy to pick up. I thought it was a thinned out version of Gatorade, which I was I had a big time addiction to Gatorade for the longest period of time. Maybe because it was also laced
a lot of sugar,
stuff that wasn't good for you.
A lot of sugar, a lot of salt. Yes, even though it's better than soda, it still actually is not great for you.
I was a big lemon lime guy though, and I loved the lime Gatorade. That was my all-time favorite. And I remember even, and I can still envision this when my dad owned a bookstore. He had a little pocketbook, paperback bookstore at a subway station in New York somewhere, and I used to go there sometimes. And this was in addition to his day job. Imagine this: your parents worked really hard, Louie. They worked really hard. My dad used to do this. He used to work in a publishing company in the daytime. He was also writing and doing different things. And then he bought a piece of this little bookstore, which it wasn't uncommon for people that were riding the subway to stop in there and actually buy like a paperback. And that was, I don't know that it was a relatively new product, but, and my thing was, hey, when can we get a snack? And they were the vending machines in the subways that, where the cup always came down upside down. And then the soda would spill all over the place, or only the seltzer would come out, and then the syrup would squirt out later on. It was almost a guarantee that you were going to blow the 10 cents that it cost for the soda at the time. but I always got the lemon lime soda. And then 7 Up was big, but when Lime Gatorade came out, and I was playing a lot of recreational sports at the time, especially a sport like basketball, where you're going to be schwitzing a lot, that was like the greatest pleasure. It's almost like my post walk of life Budweiser now, where we would bring a giant container of what would they be? It wasn't a thermos, but when they first came out with the little coolers that you could carry, and I would fill that with ice and Gatorade, and I couldn't wait to start guzzling that stuff in between games. So a big addiction. But vitamin water didn't really impress me. I'm amazed that it ended up being as valuable a company and catapulted Rapoli into billionaire status.
Yep.
I don't see it around anymore. Speaking of Gatorade and getting back to what we were talking about, bad investment acumen and no intuition towards investments, I still can also envision my friend Cliff Keller when we were in high school, when Gatorade first came on the scene. I hadn't heard of it, and he was talking about there's a new sports drink coming out that's supposed to help you recover quickly. And it was put out by Stokely at the time. It was the name of the company that originally marketed Gatorade. And he said it's called Gatorade. And he was mentioning this to me in terms of, and I had no money. I mean, I was a kid, in terms of buying stock in the company. So that might not have been a bad move, Lubie. What do you think?
Well, duh. I mean, Gatorade's only grown over the years. Yes, Gatorade's been one that's very stable and grown a great. They also got eventually bought by Pepsi. Is it Pepsi? I think, or that owns Gatorade. One of them. Yes, that would have been a great move. Yes.
My little Stokely stock. The other one I'll never forget, a guy named Marshall Schlossberg. I had to make sure I double clutched there before I said that name. Schlossberg was a friend of mine. His father was a stockbroker, which I knew little about. And he had mentioned to me a stock that was like on the penny stock market at the time called ComSat, Communication Satellite.
Yeah.
Think about that, Louis. That was in like the 1960s, like 60,
everything.
63.
Well, it became everything.
Needless to say, I didn't pull the trigger on that either. All right, so we're not buying into the Billikens then. With all of this research I did, 19-0, number 25 in the country, 19-0 at home, just closed out the season. I guess they're the number one seed in their conference tournament coming in. This was great, and I actually put a little star next to this because I wanted to mention this. How about this? I mean, you talk about a brawl. The girls are really starting to get it. In a women's college basketball game, this is one of the conference tournaments games last night, South Alabama and Coastal Carolina. 8 women were ejected because of a fight that was under the basket, and one of the officials got hurt.
Oh, God.
It became literally like the end of WrestleMania. Everybody's out there on the court throwing punches. Is that what we want to see, Lubie? Girls like just pulling each other's. I mean, you would think about. I don't want to say anything that's going to
wrestling. Is that what you're saying?
Have we seen? I guess with the Angel Reese approach to women's basketball, you could have easily seen this. I mean, how many times did she go Grayson Allen on Caitlin Clark and like trip her up from behind and do all kinds of crazy stuff? But 8 women ejected in a women's college basketball game. Is that unprecedented, Lubie?
I've never. That's the thing. I was trying to think. I've never heard of like women fight, and I'm not saying they don't. I don't know, but in basketball, like I haven't heard of. We've seen the brawl throughout men's sports. I'm trying to think of an occasion where in women's sports I heard of a brawl. That's interesting.
All right, and I did follow this Indian Wells a little bit yesterday. My man Matteo Berrettini. This is weird too because I had a prediction that Manarino would beat Berrettini, wins the first set, and then he loses the last 2 sets 7-5, 7-5. Had he held on, and he was serving for a chance to go to a third set tiebreaker, and actually in the second and third set, both times he was down 6-5 and lost his serve, Manarino. And he's a weird guy because he strings his rackets like a slingshot, where usually rackets are strung at about 60 pounds. I would imagine, I don't know. I mean, I don't really follow this because I get my rackets strung once every 7 years. But yeah, usually if you just go to the tennis center and you say, hey, can you restring my racket? They're going to string it at about 60 pounds. If you don't know a lot about it, whatever it is, it's fine, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, a guy could maybe they know your game a little bit, but in this case, they don't. And my racket's just been sitting in my car, so I would think maybe a restringing was in order. But the pros, you see them; they have like 10 rackets out there, and this guy, I would think the pros have them strung quite a bit higher in terms of tension
Okay.
than the regular player out there, the regular amateur recreational player. This guy takes all of the sting out of the racket. He plays like a power racket and then strings it so literally it's like a slingshot, where the ball just comes in and
Jesus.
pillows it forward, and somehow he's able to sustain these blistering baseline rallies with even the hardest hitters in the game, of which one of which is Berrettini. So he was getting plus 170, and I told my friend Mike, I said we ought to put a little taste on Manarino, and then we did have Tsitsipas is a guy to bet against now. Stefano Tsitsipas used to be, he was ascending to being
really good.
players. Does love ruin your game? I mean, you can hear Mick in your head from the Rocky movie saying, women weaken legs. But ever since his documented social media affair with Paula Badosa, the lovely Paula Badosa from Spain, Tsitsipas can't win a match. And so I don't think the odds were as favorable as they were in the Manarino match, which ultimately you would have lost money, but I wouldn't have laid the minus 230 on Berrettini. But I think you could have caught a price on Dennis Shapovalov yesterday against Tsitsipas, and sure enough, that one turned out. So we had a 3-team parlay in basketball. Charlotte is a team to watch now, are they not? Lubie, what do you think? Charlotte Hornets?
They played good basketball. I know they were on like a long winning streak. I haven't tracked them the last.
They lost a game, and now they've come back and won at least one or two subsequent games to that loss. But they're playing great. LaMelo Ball, 6'7" guard, playing great.
Well,
has turned out to be just a standout.
He's just helped a lot. He can spread the floor. He's a guy who's also athletic. So, and then it's also woken up Miller, who was a second overall pick, who's now looking like a second overall pick. It looks like a team that had been in that they draft wrong every time they finally, like we've seen with all these other teams, even if you're horrendous at drafting, eventually you fall ass back. If you're drafting in the lottery every year for years, you can fall ass backwards into 2 to 3 guys that can give you a nice young core. And right now it looks like the Hornets have a nice young core.
I love when you say that, nice young core.
I don't know what they look. I don't know what they are now, but to me, like they're only a game and a half behind the Heat. So I wouldn't want to play them in the playoffs. Like they're playing really good basketball.
Ye of little faith also. I guess you have to have a lot of faith in this game if you're going to go ahead and make money gambling. The Atlanta Hawks, I gave out the Hawks laying 1.5 against the Milwaukee Bucks. So I'm thinking, let me see how I did with this thing, because I originally had seen the line in the Knicks game against OKC as 2 and a hook. And I was thinking, geez, I died by the dagger there, because I suggested you take the points, whatever they were, with the New York Knicks at home in Madison Square Garden against OKC. And the game went off at 4. So not 4 p.m., but 4 points. So covered that one. Big time win over the Celtics. The Charlotte Hornets blow out the Celtics, 118-89. And the Hawks are down 16 in the first quarter against the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis is playing, and he's playing his eyeballs out. How many people, is the 3 knockdown rule in effect with Giannis Antetokounmpo? Like if he knocks down more than 3 players on one drive to the basket, do they actually have to call a foul? What do they do in that case? They never call anything on Giannis. And if ever there was a guy that should never complain to an official, it would be Giannis Antetokounmpo. Anyway, the time to bet a team, and if you had some faith in the Hawks, they've been playing decent basketball. They're now 1 game over 500. Milwaukee is in tank mode, in stark contrast to the desires of Antetokounmpo to get them back into the play-in tournament, which it doesn't look like they're going to be in that spot inside the top 10 in the conference. And then Atlanta eventually blows out Milwaukee, 131-113. So if you bet them when they were down 16, Lubie, what do you think? You could have got a pretty sizable price, I would think. Same thing happened last night when my buddy texted me that the Las Vegas Knights, middle of the third period, down 3-1 to the Red Wings, were plus 900. So I'm thinking, I don't know that this would happen all the time, but in certain spots, well, how do you pick those spots, though? If you're betting a team that's in a hopeless situation, would you not make money overall? Because now you could lose your next 8 chances in betting hockey if you would hit on that 9-1 shot, that 9-1 in the middle of the third period, down
That's
2
amazing.
goals.
That's
Nice
amazing.
job there by Mike, who's going to join me shortly here on Bury Your Bookie. All right, good job, Louie. Excellent. Our thanks to you. Luca's really started to handle the show, his duties on the show very, very well. We heard a little fussing because he wanted to spit on Lou Holtz's grave. Also.
Behind the scenes, he was a little fun today. The name Lou Holtz, I guess, much like Uncle Ken, it rings a little harsh for Luca, but he settled. I guess we moved on, so he moved on and he settled down. So it all worked out.
Does it cause a little bit of discomfort, as they say at the doctor's office, when you have a guy? I mean, like I said, I'm not big on disparaging the dead. I don't think Lou Holtz did enough to make me think that I want to be in that category of just pissing on his gravestone. But the professor, no doubt, tomorrow will have a lot to say about that.
Probably will have something to say. I try not to talk ill of the dead. I also agree with Ken in the sense that I'm not going to change the perception of them. So I'll say rest in peace, sad day, something very bland and generic, because I didn't know Holtz much, and a lot of stuff I heard of Holtz wasn't great. So I won't change it, but you're not wrong either. He's not a murderer. So I think it's sort of in the middle. I mean, if you yourself had good memories of him, that's fine. I'm not going to.
Only because he was on the Carson show and I thought he was funny.
That's fine.
And I wasn't even a big college football fan when he used to make those appearances. And I thought, okay, this guy's cool. It was the same thing like Bum Phillips going on there and Johnny asking him, well, why is it that you take your wife on the road all the time? And Bum Phillips looks right into the camera at his wife while she's by his side and says, because she's too ugly to leave at home. All right. We're going to get out of here. I might have messed that quote up. It didn't quite sound right the way it came out. All right. We're going to see you guys tomorrow with the professor. And, if you're sensitive to the idea of disparaging the dead, you probably don't want to tune in. I wouldn't even think a big board of why Lou Holtz should be despised.
I won't be Lou Holtz isn't that hated or anything.
All right. We will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much for being with us. For Mike Lubie Lutz and Dave Gurggles, Gergely, I'm Jeff DeForest. See you next time as we leave you know that.
The time.
It's 9:05.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.